Welcome to this episode of What is Happening with My Life Right Now. And you may be wondering that question, and we are here today to go over some things that might be happening in your life. One of those being transitions. And there are a lot of women. Actually, I think the statistic is 2 times as many women right now are leaving corporate America and they are transitioning into being at home, doing another job, or something that they find that they gives them peace and harmony in their soul. So today we thought, it was actually a unanimous decision when we thought about who we wanted to share with all of you to completely share her story. It is amazing. You're going to fall in love with her. She was a former or is a former client. You're never not a former client of ours. Her name is Kirstin Brenders, and we're so excited to have her on today. And please just jump right in and tell everybody who you are, what you do, and just a little bit about your transition going into corporate America or from corporate America.
And no pressure. She's our first guest on season 6 of the podcast. I'm so excited.
Oh my God, Gio, you should have told her that afterwards.
I was like, oh my God, she's our first guest. No, it's exciting.
It is exciting.
I need to pop the bubbles.
Yeah, but I've been a guest before on previous season.
Virtually guesting, but in person. I love it. So thank you for being part of our glow up.
Thank you for having me here. This is an honor to be with you guys. I always feel like it's a full 360 or coming back around, but yes, my name is Kirstin Brenders. I am a mindset and career coach now, but when Yvette and Gio met me, I was spun out of corporate. I left corporate, and I was in that transition of, what am I doing next? That figuring out, I guess what my third act was, and there was just so many possibilities. And I have to say that I was taking every day at a time. And I really wasn't trying to rush things, but at the same time, I also felt like, oh my gosh, what's happening in my life right now? I'm going on 40. I should have this whole career thing figured out. And like how you said about the statistics of women leaving, I was in that. My pivot out of corporate was right after the great recession for the pandemic. And so I was on that the great resignation part with so many of us leaving. But anyhow, I kind of took a break from corporate. There wasn't this powerful pause that some women say now, but I was on a purposeful pause.
I love that.
Purposeful pause after pandemic, working from home for me. From corporate, I was lucky enough to still be able to have a job and work from home. But I think the silver lining for me was I saw a whole new side of me that I didn't know that was there. And it was quieter moments, no more commuting, and just that rushing and like, you got an 8 a.m. meeting? No, I got an 8 a.m. meeting, and like figuring out the whole daycare situation. It was a great experience. Like I said, a silver lining where I could have breakfast every morning with my son. And that started becoming that new, I didn't realize it then, but that was kind of my new definition of what success was. And it was no longer tied to my career. But I did take a pause so I could have more moments like that with my son, because I just felt like a lot of my projects, my background is in architecture and interior design, and because of the pandemic, a lot of things went on hold. And so when I was looking at 2021, I just had there was nothing for me to hang on to. Just things were on hold, and I was being pushed into other roles just to fill roles for the sake of it, and that felt meaningless to me. So I did take a pause. And that just put me on a whole new trajectory of, discovering entrepreneurship and then coaching and then meeting with you guys later on.
Okay, I really want to hone in because, first of all, that was...
I feel like we can just end the episode.
I know, I was like, wow.
She just
Kirstin,
said all the
so
things.
Beautiful.
Pause.
No, it was amazing.
It was a lot of words.
The meaning of success is no longer tied to a title. I was like, can we just put that back? I'm going to put that quote out there. But you found joy. You found a version of yourself you didn't know existed. Like all these things that back in 2020 and 2021, we were all like, and then now it's 2026.
Oh
Okay,
my
but
gosh.
what I was going to say was I didn't want to lose because
Oh.
I feel like when people, listen to a podcast or hear someone else's story, we so much focus on sometimes well, look at me now versus
Yeah.
what I've been through, because that's where I feel like people really connect, because it doesn't matter what the next steps were or I shouldn't say didn't matter. They do matter. But for the person right now who actually said, I don't know what's happening with my life right now, I need help. I love the word you said, meaningless. You said, I felt like being in corporate America, I was pushed to the side and things became meaningless. Can you think of any other feelings that you were feeling at the time? Because I feel like that's how someone's really going to go,
Yeah,
I
she
get it.
hears
She
me.
hears me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, she sees me. Cog in a wheel would be another way to describe it, or um, just that time, it just felt like it was always urgency over meaningful. That was just this cycle that I felt like I lived in. Was everything was urgent, and it just everything started feeling, less. It just had less meaning for me. But I think that was also a crack in a facade of, oh my gosh, I built all of this over 18 years. This is what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? Like, why? Wait, why do I feel this way? That was another struggle. That was just definitely an identity crisis in a way, or an identity gap, as what I later talked with you guys about. But just it was at the time it felt hard and it felt scary to be in that situation. But what I know now, hindsight is everything, but what I know now is just I outgrew something that I wanted and something I set my eyes on when I was a much younger self. So I think that is okay. And once I discovered that, just like the pressure, things rolled off my shoulders a little bit more, and I felt a little bit more at ease.
Okay. I'm going to say something that I just said this last week.
Yeah.
Fear isn't always what we give it. Like, we give it so much of our attention, our emotion, our power, right? But everything that you just said was fear was really your upgraded version of you telling you, I'm looking for more.
Yeah.
Right. And that more can make maybe feel like fear, but your inner self is going, nope, I've outgrown this. I may not have all the answers. I may not know my next 2 hours. But sometimes we think it's fear when it's really just you saying, there's more for you and you've got so much more that you want to enjoy. And the definition of your success came because you got to experience what your inner person really wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think fear just grips us at the door, and it makes it look like it's so many other things than when it's what it's not.
True.
And we focus in on those negatives instead of focusing in on well, what if there's a possibility of something else?
Mm-hmm.
Because what if you would have stayed not stuck, but what if you would have just said, I'm just going to keep going through the status quo, because which most of us do. It'll get better.
Oh,
It'll change.
Yes. Well, I think I certainly did that because like I said, there was a series of cracks, and all the way back to like even 2016 when there was an economy, bust, if you will, lots of layoffs at that time. Again, I remember circling that question once, and the fact that I was circling it again, that's where it was like, I don't. Yeah, that was another realization. I've been here before. Wait, this voice she's not going away.
Yeah, it's a pattern.
Yes.
Right?
That's what it was. Yeah, I was going to say I went through, it was breaking that pattern. Yeah, I had to break that pattern for sure.
Okay, well, we're going to stop the episode now because that was it. All the things. No, I'm just
No,
kidding. I'm just
no.
kidding. I'm just kidding. No, these are all important things. But 2022 is
Yes.
when we met you. And I think for people out there right now who are watching, it still blows my mind that people are like, I've never had a coach. I don't know what a coach is.
Sure.
Back in 2021 and 2022, we were new coaches trying to kind of figure it out too. But what made you go, okay, it's time for me to hire a coach? Like, kind of walk us through the process, because a lot of people in 2026 now are going, okay, well, I'm in a new season of life. I want to do things that bring me joy. Maybe putting in 3 decades at this company I don't want to do another 3. So
Right.
What are some things that you maybe want to tell our listeners and our viewers, like, that kind of got you to the point of it's time for me to do something about this?
Yeah, well, one feeling like I don't want fear to hold me back anymore. I think just that decision that I finally came to, and I said, I think fear made me feel safe, and I make decisions a lot in my 30s. But I was like, I don't want to go into my 40s with this fear anymore, making decisions for me. Like I just didn't want that anymore. So I first came to that conclusion. I did experience working with a coach in a corporate setting where they had somebody come in and talk about strengths, your Gallup strengths at the time. And it was a good and a bad experience in a way, but I really loved that coach talking about your strengths and figuring those things out. And I remember being like, I got something out of that. And so that was my first time to be near to work with a professional coach. And so that seed was planted once. And then like I said, in 2016, I went through switching jobs, right? There was a layoff, so I was looking for another place to work. I was thinking the next project, the next place, this is going to be it for sure. But it was bad economy. So it was taking me several months at the time to find something. I knocked on another coach's door after that. And at the time, I'm going to be completely honest, I just was like, that's selfish of me to spend that money. I was unemployed. My husband and I were about to get married. And I was just like, that just felt selfish to invest in coaching. And I'll figure this out. And so I moved along, right? And so then only for that same question of like, I think there's something else for me, only to come up 2 years later. So that's when I decided. I was like, wait, figuring this out on my own or brute force or that next project is really not the solution here. So just overhearing another woman speak about the power that she experienced through coaching, that just alone, just heard someone like, oh, I was struggling. Somebody recommended a coach to me. I worked with a coach, and just being able to see her on the other side of something was like, I want to be on the other side of that. So that was one of the decisions, one of those things that helped me approach a coach.
Love it. Okay, so let's talk about your coaching. Hiring a coach. What areas do you think it supported you the most, or how did it help you move into that next season? When you hired, it could be your previous coach, it could be us, but just kind of give that. Now you hire a coach. Now what?
Yeah, hired a coach. Yeah, how to work with, yes. Having the conversations, that first coach that I hired, for me, that the power of coaching that I had was what was it? Kind of this feeling of breaking through my blind spots. You know that saying, you don't know what you don't know? And it felt weird to not realize some of these self-sabotaging habits that I had. Like that mindset of like, oh, I'll figure it out, or that next season, that next project, oh, that's where everything will get back on track. But working with a coach helped me figure out some of my blind spots that I didn't realize that I had. And then also for the first time looking at my career more on an energy standpoint, and just looking at different roles and talking about why I thought that role might be best for me next, versus going through and figuring out some of those roles and responsibilities that would be energizing and what would be draining to me. And I never really approached looking at a job post on LinkedIn like that before. And through a series of conversation, realizing that I was going after something that was going to only lead me to burnout again. And then being aware of, well, why, and what were those certain responsibilities or roles, and it was lack of being able to mentor and train other individuals. That was, she was like, you don't have that opportunity in this other role that you're going after. And so she's like, I think you're going to feel isolated. And so working with a coach helped with those blind spots, but they also helped on figuring out my strengths and my values, more importantly. That was the one thing that just was help getting it back in alignment with what were my values.
So good. And I think I love that approach because, again, you don't want to go back and find yourself in the same situation. And then Gio and I talk about all the time how when I get up in the morning, sometimes I just think, how do I get up with, I'm happy. I want to do, I was excited to do this podcast today,
Yeah.
right? I was excited to be able to see you. It's like the thought of I get to actually spend my day doing what makes me happy. And like you said, it's not just about me, helping other people, helping the community, helping my family, like just all the things. And sometimes when we look at the resumes or the jobs that are out there, it's just like, what are the hours? How much will I make? What do they need from me? What is my skill set? Like we're looking almost at the wrong list,
Yep.
versus what's the environment at the place you're going to be working now?
Mm-hmm.
Is it like a built community? Is it a family kind of style? And really understanding the person, because some people like to be in a cubicle. Some people have to be around other people. But can you imagine getting a job where you think you're going to be in a cubicle, but then you're surrounded with 50 people every day and you're just dying inside, or the reverse?
Yeah, reverse.
And then you go to school. No, I'm not talking about you. Then the reverse happens. And then you just think every day you wake up going, I don't even want to be here. And I feel awful about myself and I don't feel good. And then you start just almost like you start making excuses and you start changing inside. Reverse is what you did, is really honing in and taking the time and the value of what you bring and really figuring out, okay, this has kind of happened before and I think I need to do something different. But then obviously meeting with someone that can help you work through those things. And like you said, help you see some of the blind spots. You're like, I didn't even know. That's why they're called blind spots.
Right. Yeah. Or I thought that burnout, I thought
normal.
normal. Or, I thought it was the 5 bosses, or always, there's certain budgets, or like I said, the commute always wore me out. But there were certain things that I thought, those were the things that were burning me out. And it was nice to have somebody reflect back the truth of what I couldn't see.
Right.
That was the other things that were burning me out as well.
I have to say that I loved when we met you. You were still in a season of co-creating your next chapter. And I think it was great to be able to kind of help guide you through that, because now in 2026 you're coaching. And even back then we kind of saw it. It's like, and we talked about this in the last episode, like we kind of see those things before our clients do, but it's hard for us to go, okay, here's the next 3 to 5 years and we're going to put it all on paper. And so our goal is to kind of help you become that version of her. And I remember when we would sit down and you talk about, well, like, okay, I got my 5 clients, but now I don't know if I want, these 5 clients. And you started to really realize who you wanted to work with, what you wanted to do, because even back then, I don't think you're doing some of the stuff, but now let's talk about, like, how did that help you get where you are now? And now you're a coach.
Yes, yeah. So I like that I kind of worked with that coach. We were figuring out where I was maybe applying to via LinkedIn. I still did that, but my joke is like my accidental entrepreneur, because at the same time I was like, well, I have this idea, and I started freelancing. So that's what helped me get out of corporate and have that just financial freedom of not being back in corporate. So I started freelancing, and I just thought, okay, I'm going to cherry pick what I liked from my old job and none of the stuff. And I was like, oh, and then I could do this as a job. And so there I was again thinking like, okay, this is the solution, right? And I was 6 months into building my business at the time, right, with the freelancing. And I remember being at my computer. I had a home office. We built out our 4th bedroom to be my home office. And I just remember that feeling of, it wasn't like what's happening to my life right now, but it was like, wait, why is this happening again? Just this like tingling of burnout coming on, or this tingling of like something doesn't feel right. And yeah, you guys posted a summer session called Life First Business, or
life work balance.
Yes,
our
work balance.
I'm like, we should definitely need to treat that. But yes, life work balance.
Yeah, so there it was. And I was like, hold on, wait, that's why I did this. Hold on, life first. But then in that moment, that day in the office, and so it was back to patterns, that like habits that I had, and it was pushing through. It was that feeling of like, okay, well, I don't want to work when my son comes home from school, like, and so I was like, I'm going to push myself to finish something. Basically, was what I was trying to do, and I obviously don't need to do that anymore. I don't need to treated things like that. So I've started to realize those are the things also that burn me out when I do those, when I have those bad habits show up. But anyhow, I started working with you guys. We were talking about my all things self, my relationship with time, money, myself. And then, we were talking about my business a lot, about like who I wanted to serve. And I started feeling like I was getting very micro niched just to stay in the industry that I knew so well, right? And I started feeling like, well, I only want to work with mothers. And I started getting so narrow. I started second guessing some of my decisions, but it was about it for me. It was about the impact, right? I wanted to work with other moms building businesses so they could have more time freedom with their children and their just the same values that I had with mine.
Alignment. I like it. The alignment of like you can teach what is important to you to others.
Yeah. But I was certainly doing that. I loved it. I was very thankful. I worked on the back end with 14 other entrepreneurs, helping them build their teams, their businesses. That's what I did in corporate in a way. And so it was just like a natural extension of my corporate career. But the coaching, working, seeing the power of coaching, the transformation that I had working with coaches, when I started having other women reach out to me and ask me for coffee chats, hey, I saw that you were able to change your career after corporate, and either they were past, like some of them were past friends, but then other strangers in a way that they found me from my website or any directory that I was on. And they were curious about the role that I had and what fractional work was like to be a project manager or fractional manager, any kind. Like they were just like, or a whole virtual business. What is this virtual business that, online business? Because they wanted the same thing. So I think after the 8th phone call, I was, okay, hold on. And it really did light me up having these conversations with these individuals. But I realized they weren't, yes, casual recommendations on, maybe a program to go through or where to just simply get started, just like simply testing the idea out before just declaring you're going to have a business, right? I really promoted like start freelancing first and just figuring out, is that the right thing before totally declaring a business? Because that just felt like big and bold.
Yeah.
To me even. So I knew the women on the phone felt the same way. But I think after that 8th conversation, I was like, there's a different service and there's something for me here. And I knew it was the power of your questions from the coaches, right? And so I would try to say, well, when I was working through my mindset or working with a coach, and I would give examples, but that was really good about mentoring. But I knew the power of questions. And so I wanted to be able to share that experience. And that's what put me on the path to right now go back to school to become a certified coach as well.
Yay. I just hope that people really hear that journey before we wrap it up, because it's not like you came out of the gates and everything was just handed. Like, here it is.
That's a 10-year journey.
Yeah.
From 2016 and we're in 2026. It took 10 years, which most people are like, oh my God, that's so long. Or you could have had 10 more years at corporate.
Yeah.
Imagine we wouldn't be sitting here.
Or how about just 10 more years of floundering by yourself by not getting people to help support what you were doing, right? It's like, okay, I'm doing this. But there's nothing wrong with change. There's nothing wrong with transitions. There's nothing wrong with micro niching, not the things like you do learn by discovering, by doing new things, you learn what you do like and what you don't like. But then I love that as you're trying things out, because we know this personally, Kirstin was growing, not that you weren't confident, but your confidence shone greater, brighter to everybody around you, right?
Yeah.
You started doing things that you'd never done before and stepping out. So people started noticing that. So whatever you were creating, your energy, who you were being, like that was fully blossoming. And so that's what was attractive to the other person reaching out to you and saying, can I ask you some questions? So it was like it was a natural byproduct of who you already are, who you had become, right? From even in 2016.
Mhm.
So it's like we think to ourselves, I don't really changed. Have I really? We do change, especially when we do this work. And now you've discovered like the perfect balance of I have time at home. I'm with my son. I get to do all those things, but I'm also serving women in a space that brings you the joy and all the things. And like Gio said, it didn't just come overnight
Didn't.
at all, but you were willing. You took those imperfect actions and you found the support. And voila.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Voila. Yeah.
It is a voila. You're here.
Yeah, I know, but I think that, but that was the thing that also when, you'd hear stories with people starting businesses and their overnight success, right? That was just flooding the internet, and
The
it still
fluff.
does.
It
It's
still
not real.
does.
I promise you, it's not. It's like winning the lottery. Yes, one person wins the lottery, every 4 months,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But that's not everybody. Yes, there are people who their overnight successes, and it probably usually is a product that people usually gravitate to, but that's not everybody. Most
Right.
people they're sitting at their desk right now, maybe listening to you, and they're like, how in the world am I going to make this happen? So from point A to point B isn't just an overnight.
No.
It takes a while.
Yeah, it takes a while because there was a lot of quiet questioning in my journey, like before leading up to this. And I think that's why I'm more vocal and I talk more about it. And that's the lane of coaching that I picked for mindset and career because of how much just being a byproduct of being stuck in corporate or just feeling being called to do something else. And that wasn't a sign of like, oh, you changed your mind again about your career. It was just like, no, I'm evolving. And just
Love that word. It's in here too.
but when but man, when I said it in my kitchen, it was just like I didn't feel apologetic. I didn't feel, and it was a recently where I said that within the year of saying that. No, this is just an extension and an evolution. And what's great is talking with my coaches right now. I'm in this mentoring coaching program, but we're talking about things. And they're just saying that's been a thread when we've been talking about it. And it's just like there's a common thread throughout my whole career, and you just keep on pulling it along into the different roles that you're doing. So it's not changing my mind, and it's just evolving what was already inside of me to begin with.
It's so funny. What everyone's like, do you guys do ads? Do you guys do no, our ads are our clients because you were seen and you were heard, and now look at what you're doing. So we're really proud of you. I mean, it's been 4 years since we coached you, but we've been in your presence. You've been in the YGC community. You've shared your story with the people that are either our clients or want to be clients, or maybe they're not sure what coaching is. So before we end, because I have a really good little message that I want to end with, but before we end, is there maybe just something that you want to give our viewers that they're thinking, oh God, I don't know if coaching's for me. I'm too scared. I don't have time. I don't have money. I don't even know what I want to do. What would your advice be to anybody that's watching right now?
Okay, anybody who watching right now, hear those things. It was a money thing for me. I admitted that earlier, but I think through coaching, one of the things, it's not about a return on investment. Can I just tell you guys how much of a return on energy I've had since investing in myself? It's not investing in a coach. Like you're investing in your professional and personal development. So coaching, like I said, when I knocked on that first coach's door, and then I was like, oh, that's too much money. I can't do it. But God, the return on energy that I have, and just being able to go through situations now, I don't circle as much as I used to, right? I can self-coach myself. So that's the other thing about coaching, right? Yes. That's the other thing about coaching. It's not just, a 3-month or 6-month or 1 year commitment, whatever you decide that you have with that coach. You're going to walk away with tools to self-coach yourself. And that's an investment that just keeps on, a gift that keeps on
For a
giving.
lifetime.
Well, if you didn't watch the episode before this, we did talk about that. And it is a tool because we still do it as coaches. Like we self-coach ourselves. It is a tool. It's being proactive versus being reactive. But one of the things I wanted to bring up, because as we do this podcast, we want the statistics to show, but a lot of people feel that hiring a coach means you're lost. Like something's wrong with you and you're lost. It doesn't mean you're lost. It doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're choosing support while you're evolving. So I love that you brought up the word. That's my word of the year. But transitions magnify everything: doubt, fear, possibility, desire. Support is what turns a breakdown into a breakthrough. So you don't hire a coach because you don't know what you're doing. You hire a coach because you're brave enough to admit that this season deserves intention, support, and care. Thank you for being on. Like, you have no idea
yes.
how amazing, like, the intention and the clarity of the authenticity of this podcast when we planned this last year. I remember just going like, this is what we're meant to do. Like, we are real. It's simple. Everything you said did not happen overnight. Like I said, it's 10, you're still evolving, you're still growing. There's going to be so many more things, but so many women don't take the leap.
Mhm.
They don't pick up the phone to just have the connect. They don't want to, they don't feel seen or heard, so they don't even know how to do that. So I just
Yeah.
want to encourage everyone who's watching this episode, go back if you didn't watch the previous one, just to kind of hear about the statistics and the why. But having a client on and being able to share her story, we really thank you for being here
Oh,
and
thank
just taking a chance on us 4 years ago.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Thank you for having me on the podcast and continuing. And that's what I love about, walking in your footprint or, your path, I suppose. But you guys showed me what a good coach was, and that the fact that, you guys did coach me 4 years ago, but here we are still in community together.
I was
So
just going to say, because you're part of our community.
Community
Yeah.
is
Yes,
everything.
That's everything.
And so while I might be serving women virtually, the different parts of, all the way from Spain to California right now, but that's how I lead, right? While we still, or maybe have done our sessions together and worked through something, they're never just former clients. They're still with me. I'm still cheering them on, even if I'm not their current client or their current coach, I mean.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We feel the same way.
Yeah.
Well, before we close out the episode, we do have to let you know we are sponsored by.
Go ahead.
It's
Gia.
not a real podcast unless we say that.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you for our sponsors, Cabby Clothing. You are in this beautiful outfit that now I'm like, I need to go back and order the jacket.
I do love it.
Oh, no, please get up. We're going to have a little modeling session on this one. And then we will post pictures as well. Just turn, you need to move your hair. You need to move your hair. But anyway, I just want you to know that we have recently become Wear and Share stylists. So if you want our looks, it's so easy. You just click the link that in wherever you're watching, and then you can also have our looks. But I love this on you. This jacket's amazing. I'm going to put it on reversible in a photo, so I'll know if you actually went to our Instagram to see it. But like I said, we are super excited that we have a sponsor for this episode. If you want to sponsor any of our episodes, please feel free to click the link as well, and we can get you to sponsor one of our amazing topics. So thank you for being here. Until next time. Bye.
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 I love this. Oh my God. Oh, did we finish or is that bloopers? Okay, perfect.